there is still something that I find pretty fascinating when it comes to the internet computer, even though nothing I say is financial advice, and even though I'm not telling you to do anything, I'm clearly aware that, of course, Bitcoin, Ethereum, a bunch of altcoins, they're not doing good whatsoever. They're having a pullback, generally speaking, and so is ICP to a certain extent. However, even despite all that, my point of view is this. When it comes to all this type of stuff going on as of right now, there's still a statistic that I often focus on. And before I get more into the price later on in the video, I want to talk about this, which I think is going to make sense a little bit later when I discuss the price. Because if I take a look at it, according to ChainSpec, in the week of November 7th to November 14th, allegedly, when it comes to this chart showcasing the fastest blockchains, ICP was ranked number 1, overtaking something like Solana even, right? Also, something like, for instance, we take a look at Polygon and even Near as well, or should I say the Near protocol. Not to mention even something like Sui. So that's pretty impressive in my perspective, because this is considering how the internet computer isn't necessarily the most well-known project out there. Like, this is not something that people would often think about, right? If I just randomly asked one of my friends, you know what is allegedly the fastest blockchains in the week of November 7th to November 14th, ICP is not the first thing people think about. Maybe it's not even the 10th thing, right? You know what I mean? Maybe they don't even care about it at all in that case. So I just find this pretty impressive. And keep in mind, when it comes to ICP, yeah, sure, the price is not doing the best. And sometimes you like to tell me what happens if things go lower. Now, in theory, they could always go lower because, I can't control the market. But in my perspective, with the statistics that I'm seeing when it comes to a computer, I don't know why I would just give up like that, especially considering how it is a general event that's going on, right? It's not a specialized event where only ICP is doing this. Generally speaking, a bunch of altcoins are not doing the best. So if generally a lot of things are not doing the best, they're kind of going down, what I focus on is the fundamentals. And when I take a look at their computer and I take a look at fundamentals like this, I just don't want to give up. That's the way to take a look at it, because I still like the fundamentals. It's like, for instance, let's say I liked a pair of jeans that I really loved in a store. However, let's say the store, generally speaking, is having a discount on all the products, right? What I focus on is not the random stuff that I don't really need. What I focus on is the jeans, because I wanted that initially. It just, the whole store is having a discount. So then, yeah, I'm going to acquire the jeans. But it doesn't mean that when it comes to, the jeans that became kind of bad or something like that, fundamentally, it's just the whole store's having a discount for whatever reason. That's just kind of my point of view. So when I take a look at the internet computer as well, sometimes people like to tell me, what happens if ICP goes to around that $3 range again? Sometimes people like to ask me this because, of course, ICP is having a pullback right now. My response is this. I didn't mind dollar cost averaging into ICP when the price was around $3. So if, let's say, it returns back there, suddenly I would mind? I don't know why I would think that way, actually. I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but if, let's say, for whatever reason, I bought a pair of jeans for, let's say, $20, and it became like $40 because, for whatever reason, it became rare, and then suddenly went back to $20, would I suddenly be like, oh yeah, no, I don't want it? Well, I didn't mind it not too long ago when it was $20. So, to me as well, my point of view is that when ICP was like, around that $9 range not too long ago, a lot of people were telling me, wow, I can't believe it was once at around $3. What does that mean in their perspective? Who knows? But just to me, if I didn't mind it at $3 not too long ago, if it does go to that level again, I don't know why it would suddenly just be something I would mind, actually. But this is just my perspective. Not to mention as well, when I take a look at their internet computer, my point of view is that when it comes to the project, has it been given up on? That's the way to take a look at it, because a lot of other projects out there felt like the team gave up. But when I take a look at Dfinity, have they given up? Now, all signs are showcasing to me that it hypothetically maybe isn't the case, because of course they're still updating, they're still doing things. Caffeine AI is still, kind of still emerging, but it's still there. I take a look at the Solana and ICP integration. I take a look at also when it comes to Bitcoin DeFi supposedly being powered by the internet computer. It's all kind of still there. It's just, again, the price isn't doing the best. So At a time like this, what I focus on is projects that don't give up because sure, some projects out there that the team maybe gave up on, it could still in some cases just do something during an altcoin season because again, the space sometimes just does that, right? But I'm saying if I want to believe in a project in terms of the longevity, I want to see that the team didn't give up. So this is my just perspective when it comes to this. This is why I take a look at what Dfinity is doing. I take a look at what they're trying to do with their computer. And so far, even despite unfavorable, I would say, conditions for altcoins currently, I am still not giving up because I still like the effort that they're putting in. As long as the project doesn't give up, and as long as this is not just like some only thing that ICP is experiencing while all other altcoins are having an altcoin season or something like that, as long as that's not the case, then why would I give up? It's not like, there's this general altcoin season going on, and then ICP is the only one not doing the best, and then suddenly the team gave up or something. It just doesn't give me that vibe because, again, there's no altcoin season currently in my perspective. So this is why I'm still staying patient when it comes to their computer, and I still find this aspect when it comes to it pretty fascinating because, again, when it comes to this statistic, it's not something that I would automatically think about when I think about the internet computer. I feel like the internet computer, for me, is a little bit more of a, even though, again, nothing I say is financial advice and I'm not telling it to anything, but again, I'm going to continue where I left off. It is more, I think, of a acquired taste for me because if I'm entering into this space, right? Let's say I don't know anything about this space at all. I'm entering into this space. ICP is not going to be the first thing I'm thinking about. Not even probably the second, third, fourth, or fifth, because it's just not top 10 in terms of popularity. It's more of an acquired taste because it's something I have to actually understand and actually kind of take a look at into before I kind of know what it's all about, right? When I just take a look at the internet computer, if I just take a look at it at first glance and I see an aspect supposedly being able to connect Web 2 and Web 3 without oracles, that's not something I'm going to be able to break down initially if I don't really know the space, right? It's not going to be something I'm going to be able to say, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. If let's say I didn't know anything about this space and I just take a look at that term right there, or that statement, it would just kind of not really make sense to me. You know what I mean? Like for instance, an oracle is basically a data feed that brings data from off the chain and it brings that data over into the blockchain. Like how would I know that if I don't really kind of take a look at that type of stuff, right? So to me, when it comes to internet computer, it's a little bit more of an acquired taste, but I've actually acquired that hypothetical taste because when I take a look at the internet computer, I just like it fundamentally. And by no means, I don't think it's going to become the most hypothetical popular one out there. No, I just don't think so. But at the same time, I don't mind because I think ICP kind of fits into a certain criteria that I look for. It is a project that, again, I like the fundamentals, has a good amount of holders, but also the market cap isn't too massive, but it's not too small either because I am not into microcaps, but I'm not into a project that has a market cap that is way too massive. So for what I'm looking for specifically for me, I cannot speak on anyone's behalf. These type of projects are something that I often focus on. Not to say that I don't focus on some projects out there that have a small market cap, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, this is kind of the range that I'm looking at. A project that, again, has a pretty okay following. Market cap isn't too massive, but then it's not too small either. So this is just kind of what I'm looking for. And again, the whole altcoin space is not doing the best as of right now. So if that is the case, for me, I'm just going to continue to believe in the projects that I do believe in. I'm going to stay patient, hold, and wait, but nonetheless, I do find this aspect, again, when it comes to this chart, which is, according to ChainSpec, by the way, I just find that pretty fascinating to me. Personally for me, whatever the market's doing, I just dollar cost average once a month, and I just wait for maybe better days ahead. That's about it. But ultimately, that's all I can do. I am not telling anyone to do anything, but I just wanted to make this video real quick because a lot of people are asking me, oh, what do I think about ICP right now? Yeah, again, this is just my current thoughts currently. And that's about it. I'm just going to stay patient. And I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you all have a nice day. It's Blinny the Captain, and I'll catch you all in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.